All right, folks, here we are. The first episode of the originally titled Logan Pettis Show. Why are we calling it the Logan Pettis Show? Because, well, that's my name, I own it, and there you go. And we're also talking about the same guy that when they asked, "Hey, Logan, what do you want your ring name to be?" Logan Pettis! So, anyway, there we go. This is the inaugural show, and I have on with me, shall I say. See, we're already going to have to edit stuff. But on with me right now is my RCW Women's General Manager, my counterpart, partner in crime, Miss Reyna Pink. Say hi.
Yeah, we have a speak out moment already. 1 minute into the show, Logan.
What have I done already? I have her on me. Clearly not. Okay. So
Remember,
anyway,
Logan, nobody cares. Nobody cares, Logan.
No one cares. So anyway, yeah. Welcome to the show, Pink, and Pink's had an interesting career. Fairly, I don't want to make her sound old because that's rude, but long career. To be fair, there was a gap in that career, so and I'm sure we'll get into that. But let's just deep dive right now into Pink. Let's start a little bit with life. What is young Pink up to? What was, I guess, what I'm trying to ask? What was that moment? That, I guess the question is like, why wrestling? What was that moment? Where were you at? What was going through your head? What were you watching? Were you at an event?
Mm.
When did this thing kick in?
Oh, there I am interrupting already. You're going to get some
Yeah,
emails on that. Already interrupting. When I was younger, young, they didn't have a lot of women on. Because I'll be honest, everyone talks about the rock and wrestling stuff. That was before me. It was around, I think, but it was very young, if anything, and I don't remember it too well. I do remember Hulk Hogan, yes, but as far as women, they didn't have them for quite some time after that. And then when they did, they were very, God, I can beat them up. That was always my thought. Even as a younger kid, I could beat them up. And I knew I could beat them up. Even now, I could beat them up.
Rock and wrestling thing was like, Fabulous Moolah was like their big yeehaw. And she was, what, 60 at the time?
I'm not going to speculate on our ages, but yeah, probably.
And I'm not saying that a 60-year-old can't be tough. There's what's his name right now, Haas Holding, that's like what 65 or something like that, and he's getting after it. But anyway, women wrestling.
Well, that yes, and then I played sports. Strict family though, didn't get to shave my legs. Had a nice big poofy bangs, hair in a ponytail, possible mustache, not sure. That kind of shit.
Splicey that picture of you looking like Charlie from the Santa Claus in here. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh God. Well, the thing is, and so you have that, and all you're doing is playing sports, kind of tomboy-like, and then, people call you Mangela and shit like that. It's like, it's not even cool, because, like, there's nothing wrong with me. It was just, like, they weren't a lot, I grew up in a strict family. We couldn't do certain things. We didn't wear makeup. We didn't do a lot of stuff at the time. And then they said, watching, I want to say it was Saturday Night's Main Event. It was, no, Shotgun Saturday Night, that wild one, right? That wasn't that the Attitude Era? Something. And it was around the time just after China had ragdolled the shit out of Marlena, Terry Reynolds. Okay, we're like kind of speculating, what is she, right? Oh, that's a woman. That's a woman. Oh, she's beating the fuck out of people. Okay, I can get behind that. I can get behind that, and like that was kind of where it was like, I gotta do this at some point. But I really didn't know how. Really didn't. Like, back then, there was internet, but it was like, do you remember when you would search something, it would take like 10, 15 minutes for it to come up? And then you don't even know what it was. They had some dirt sheets and stuff, and you're just like, I don't even know what this is. But you would go find like PWI. Before PWI was just like 500. It was an actual magazine. So it would tell you what was going on in the Indies and stuff, and I would get it here and there. One time, I used to go watch the wrestling there was the one bar called Tiffany's. I think RCW used to run there, remember. But I didn't go for that. I went because they would show the wrestling, the pay-per-views for $5 because I didn't have 60 to buy it at home. So why not go drink beer and, buy a $5 pay-per-view, right? Then they went to this place called Fatso's. Fatso's was the coolest place. It closed down. Um, and a lot of people, even JC, Tina, and them used to go there too. I think it was $5 there too. A guy named that would sell toys named eBay Ray. eBay Ray later on would come work for us at RCW, but eBay Ray at the time was just Ray Toys selling toys, and he would talk your ear off, and so he was friend to everybody. Like if you talked to Ray, you talked to him for hours, right? So I don't know if I made the mistake of or whatever, or blessed to find him where I said, "Hey, I want to wrestle." Well, I know your guy. You do? Yeah. And the devil himself was sitting right there in Fatso's. I shall not name him. But when I looked it up, I had my PWI magazine with me, remember? And it said at the time, the big guy in Ring of Honor, because at the time Ring of Honor was where all the good indie people went. I think CM Punk had just left there and went to OVW, not OVW, Deep South maybe. Wherever Punk went the first, OVW, yeah, because Al Snow, yeah.
It was OVW, yeah.
It was when we were all excited, yeah, Punk's there. And then, Dragon might have been the champion at the time of Ring of Honor. I want to say it was American Dragon. It was either him or Homicide. I don't remember. But it was that era.
So we're talking, what is that, like
5 and 6.
2005-ish? Yeah.
5:05. We're in '05. That's where we're going back. But so
I still have my DVDs, like I'm picturing it in my head. Like I had bootleg copies of Ring of Honor shows that this guy was like, "You've got to see this."
oh yeah, that's how a lot of us learn. We'll get into that. I pull out my magazine, and the hot guy in Ring of Honor at the time was this kid from Japan, dragging it called Milano Collection AT. And what caught my eye was in the article, it talked about how he trained at the Texas Wrestling Academy. What? Okay, and I said,
Which
it said
was
that's
it?
in San Antonio. The Texas
And
Wrestling,
was HBK still?
that's the thing.
Yeah, he'd gotten out of
No,
it at the time, right?
no, yeah, because when I was a kid, the big thing here was TWA, Shawn Michaels TWA, and they would put on 99.5 Kiss, Shawn Michaels TWA.
Because Sean, yeah, that's right. Sean went back to WWE in like '02 or something like that.
Right. So the Texas Wrestling
Conveniently
Academy,
after the WCW buyout, he couldn't sit on the couch anymore. But
right. Well, actually, here's the funny part. I never correlated the two together. Just a Texas Wrestling Academy located in San Antonio, Texas. And I was like, in San Antonio, Texas? Huh? And so, sure enough, Ray, who knew everything, God rest his soul, was like, yeah, that's here, blah, blah. In fact, the head owner, trainer, whatever. Okay, we're going to stop right there. He's sitting right over there. I was about to go into other things, but he's sitting right over there. Oh, he
we'll
is.
get
Okay.
there, maybe.
Well, the short is he was there. That's how the whole thing came to pass. To start, it was just from the beginning. Come see shows, come see how you like it, ask questions, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And I remember one of the first shows I went to, Don Juan was still wrestling there, so that's how far back that goes. This was Don Juan was on the show. I want to say like Jacob Ladder, shoot, Rudy Russo, of course. A Latino. I can't remember everybody. We're getting old, but it was a show in '05 back then. But I remember clearly asking. I need to say this part so we can understand later things. I said, does everyone train together or do girls train separately? No, everyone trains together. When you're here, you're a wrestler. Everyone's a wrestler. Everyone is treated as a wrestler. There's no male. There's no female. You are a wrestler. Okay. So from that point, that's the mentality I had because that's how it was.
That's
But if you fast,
and
but if
that's
you,
see, I'll jump in here.
mm-hmm,
And I'm not trying to jump tracks here, but I can understand why we separate
uh-huh,
in today's, and I think you know where I'm going. I
mm-hmm,
understand why we separate today, but do you think that causes a weird, I don't know, almost like a lack of, do I want to say respect for like women's wrestling? women's wrestlers.
And then how did
As
basically
in,
we just
as
well
in,
different.
like, it's like, well, these girls are all just training with these girls, and this is. I don't know how I want to word it to make it make sense.
Well, I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, yeah, because there was the difference with me, and it's really, and this is kind of where it's hard to kind of, where I don't just appear on shows because it has to make sense, right? Oh, what's Pink doing? She's standing right there. Bitch, I know what I'm doing. I'm standing right there because the thing is, if I beat up your entire roster, what the hell are you going to do then? That makes no sense in today's day and age. Okay, but back in the day, I could beat up the entire roster and they loved it because that was the thing. That was how I was the draw. If I didn't have a lucha thing going on or whatever, guess what? We'll put Pink in a match with a guy, and I mean, watch her beat his ass, legit, every time. And they got a kick out of it. They loved it. They wanted me to be aggressive, and that's just what they wanted. Is what sold. It's like a circus, corny.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyways, circus.
But
Uh,
but yeah,
it's a
it's just it's one of those things. I guess it's the old school vibe in me coming out, where it's like I can almost respect it more that you trained with the men
right.
and worked out with the men. Now I get
Manny
into a weird
Fernandez
thing.
hated it.
I
I'll
get into a
put that
weird
right
thing where it's
there.
like train or changing, with the men sharing a locker room, especially like after 2020 when all the Me Too thing came out. Like it was weird, and I came from kind of like a weird theater world a little bit where we do what is called the quick change backstage real quick between
Yeah,
scenes, and so there's boys and girls and god knows what running around, but we're usually going so fast you can't tell who's naked and where.
right.
But that's different in like a wrestling locker room. And like I remember being at Pink and I, for those of you, I should have said this at the start, we go back at least like what, 6 years, something like that, to another promotion.
Mm-hmm.
And the locker room was this guy's like garage, and
Ugh.
so here I
Auto
am, and
body
it's like,
shop.
you're right, at a body shop, and it's like, hang on, here, I have to get undressed really quick. And I start going, and then I look over, and there's like this girl standing next to me by this forklift, and I'm like, shh, that's a little weird. Not that I'm like stupid body conscious or anything, again, the theater thing kicks in, but it's like,
Well,
anyway, I,
that's the
back
thing.
to,
That's the thing. The thing though is just that the confusion in general when it's like now, right? So I could beat up those guys, right? But now I have midgets slapping me. I don't know how that happens, but this is where we are this day and age. Like I guess when you're old, you lose your ability to lift your hand and beat the shit out of somebody. I
you
guess, right?
lose your
So
mojo, baby.
fuck no. There it goes. Here comes Pink. It ain't gonna happen. But no, the thing is, see, because I did lose something in me for a while I was gone, but also because of what happened to me. The thing is, without getting into details on it, what happened to me was very real, regardless of whatever people think they were exonerated from. It was very real. Okay. And mind you, when you're in those kind of abusive situations, it leads to other abusive situations and more abusive situations too. It's like a chain
Yes.
reaction until you just learn to fucking find your shit and get out of there. Because I don't understand how I ever even got into that. Because I looked, so on the outside, I looked so strong, right? So now,
I touched on it briefly, coming from a little bit of that same thing, you and I were there at the same time for some of the same thing.
oh, when they try to
And
stab the locker room
yes, and I'm
because they
not
were
the
in a bad mood,
I am not the to let just fly like that. The
right?
man slapped me in the face with a Bible like sucker punched me. And see, I'm
See,
gonna
not
make
that
this about
Omega
I'm gonna
died
make it about
unconscious,
me
right?
for a second, but and okay,
Didn't
you
somebody
can
have a
look and go,
concussion?
right, yeah. Somebody wound up with a
Hmm.
concussion from this same
From the Bible.
incident. Yes. And you can say, well, that's just him being him. And I've heard people say that before. And I'm like, well, okay. And that's true. But it's like he did it to humiliate me. And I know he did. Or else he would have said, hey, Logan, come over here. I want to demonstrate, how this guy needs to hit this guy with this thing. And then, I could have at least braced myself or whatever. No, he did it to make me look
Mm.
stupid. I had friends there in the locker room, the guy that had helped me kind of start my training when I had trained.
Wait, the locker room or training in a bar behind a trailer somewhere?
Yes, that was the locker room. But and so you were talking about you're touching on abuse and trauma and things, and it was just
Hmm.
I think that I had been so mentally worn down by this guy by this point that it just I rolled over and took it and didn't even realize until after I was out of this situation that it's like,
Hmm.
wow, wow, what did I just come out of? Anyway, so that's making it about me. Where were we? We
Well,
were we
no,
were
well,
with
because
you. You were at the show with Manny Fernandez. Or no,
oh, and
you were
no,
with
well, what we're talking about just trauma in general and the things that lead to the break and to where I lose myself, right? So when I
yeah,
come
sure.
back, let's talk about the elephant
Yeah,
in the
because
room
you
because
you'd
because
asked the
nobody
question. You said, "Do boys and girls train together separately?"
right. Well, one thing is, well, but for me, like, coming back, it's not just hey, she's back, she's ready, let's go. There's mental things, and then there's questions, and there's people that doubt you.
Oh, absolutely.
18 years and you guys want to doubt me still? Like you have to ask if I know what I'm doing? Ooh, okay. Sure. Okay, cool. I mean, I guess if that's how you want to do it, but wow, because I feel that as a girl, if it's on a man doesn't have to get asked those questions. If they go on a little hiatus for a little bit, they come back and it's like, hey, you're good to go, but right now you're good to go. Okay, cool. I mean, it's like, are you sure you're good? Are you sure this? Oh, you gained some weight. No shit, Sherlock. I had a child or two. You know, yeah, I gained weight. I got out of an abusive situation that I almost died from. Okay. So this is where I'm like, this is me saving myself, right? And I have to find myself. So it's not just I'm hacking, I'm 100%, right? Right now, mentally, I'm probably like as close to pink as I've ever been. But without the negative connotation that pink had. Because, yeah, I beat the shit out of people. Not like that, not like in a match type shit. I'm talking about like if you had, if we hit, we hit hard. We went back and forth. There was no oh we're light tapping this kind of stuff whatever. If I'm fighting a guy, I'm going to fight you like a guy, right? So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like back to feeling like myself. I don't have that negative cloud around me. Anyone that's negative is no longer welcome in my life or near my life, and they don't even get mentioned. If they're mentioned about, they aren't mentioned by name. So if you know who you are, and you
Yeah,
know exactly who you are, guilty party, raise your hand.
it was. I won't even mention that name, but
Mhm.
it's somebody we work with. Somebody once said, and I liked this quote. Yes, if the shoe fits, I'm talking about you. I appreciate it. I mean, it's the old saying, if the shoe fits, wear it. But yeah, I appreciated that saying. And he was actually talking about me at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, well,
So the when you're talking about boys and girls too, because Manny
I was
couldn't
about to say
stand
we haven't
watching
even
any of
we
my
haven't even
shit.
started training yet. We haven't. You're still asking questions.
Okay, cool.
And
I'm
and then
started
I made it
training
about me, and then we went off on a thing, and then this is
because we
how
do
this show
that.
works, folks.
This is what we do. No, asking questions. I think Chavo Guerrero Senior had just left. Was there for a little bit of time during training, and he made appearances when he was in town there. When Manny came, everyone got to do Navy SEALs training and all kinds of cool shit.
Wow,
Manny he would start his own seminars like, who wants to learn Fujiwara arm bars? What the Manny? I don't even know like a headlock takeover yet, but sure, let's go. Like
sure.
he's teaching it. And he's like, and then Manny talking shit to the guy. He's like, how the hell is this a girl gonna out wrestle you? And then he pulled me to the side. I don't even like girls. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I coached some girls in high school, Olympic style, but I don't like girls, and I don't like coaching them. But I like you. I'll say I trained you because I'll say I got you. Because he's what happened was we were doing some some MMA stuff at the time. He had appeared with some kids from his Derek. Oh, I love Derek. And some other people that he came in from with. He was in North Carolina at the time or South Carolina. South Carolina. Carolinas. He came. That's when he came in with some of them. So it was Manny's students versus our group. And then, you know, he starts to do another little seminar thing with MMA stuff, and he's like, hey, and then there was a girl there from Texas wrestling. I won't name her because it's not important. She was there, and he goes, get in the ring and try to take down that guy. She runs in and tries to grab a leg and just starts giggling.
No, okay. Now, was this the believable girl?
But I don't even know if you know her, but I would never have guessed her as a wrestler, in my opinion,
See,
ever.
see,
But
and that's my thing
that's why I
with
don't want to mention it. It was like, okay, because it's
right.
not gonna.
Everybody, I'm not one of these people that's 100% against like the intergender wrestling thing, right?
Hmm. Well,
But
this
if you're
there
gonna
was
do it, can it please be believable? I
right. Well,
don't
that's
think
where.
that Roxanne Perez, is honestly going to beat up what's Eric or whatever his name is
Hmm.
on the thing. I don't believe that that's ever going to happen.
Right. Well, but what funny is like back in the
But now,
day,
okay,
if I
now
if
in a
I got
real
in the ring
fight,
with
not to jump all over you, but I have in a real fight. Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying she can't. I'm saying all she's got to do is slip underneath him, hit him one time in the balls, and then it's on like Donkey Kong or Honky Kong if we're making RCW references.
Honky Kong.
But you see what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm saying in the sport, in the confines of the squared circle, in professional wrestling, if we're putting on real fights, this little 90-pound girl is not going to whoop this,
No. And then
350-pound,
well
let's even use, somebody
this
somebody
let's
smaller, Jay Alexander.
this guy was 205, and I wouldn't say he was Jay Alexander's shape at all. Okay.
No,
But
Jay
let
Alexander.
me gosh,
Anyway,
Jay Jay is great. Let's not get on a tangent about overkill yet. Hold on, we got a long way. No, but no, and so he told her, and she did the haha giggle thing, and he was disgusted, and I don't know what he told her, but she got out of the ring, and my turn, same guy. God, his shoes stunk. To this day, they still stink. I know you know who I'm talking about, and I better not say it. Smelled, knee pads smelled. Anyways, sorry, it's just one of those things like about I
is it with the tape?
no.
With the
Uh-huh.
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
We have our own
I
language, folks. This is what happens when you
yeah.
work together for this long.
So I got in the ring, went straight for the leg. We got into a little bit of a grapple, not too much, but Manny was like, "Stop right there." If he was a bad person, he would have kneed you right in the head because you looked down. Never looked down. And that's all he told me about the whole thing. Like everything else, but then he pulled me to the side, and I said, "This is the reason I like you is because the difference in the two girls that I put in the ring, and I did that on purpose, is I wanted to see what you would do. And you went to fight him. You weren't scared. You didn't giggle. You didn't do anything. You were like, okay, you know, fight him. I'll fight him. Like I wasn't scared of nobody. Like I really wasn't. Because not just that, like I was the same height as all the guys at the time. You know.
That's
Um.
what we're trying to do. We're trying to fight with people. I go on forever. I don't think anybody takes this. The classic line that I've heard my entire career is, "Logan, you're overthinking wrestling." And I'm like, no, I'm trying to think of fighting. I'm a
Mhm.
martial artist. People don't know that. Let's again make it about me, but I've seen fights. I know what they look like. Anyway, and
Well,
disclaimer,
that
I was a martial artist like 300 pounds ago, so let's not get excited, folks.
yeah. Well, that's a Manny would just come and go throughout our little lifetime of training. So, but he is listed, yes, as my main trainer because I could call him for anything. I could MySpace him for anything. That's how it started. We could MySpace Manny. It was really him. We, anything. And then when things were going wrong, we let him know and he let us know what wasn't right. He didn't carny that shit and go along with the bad people and oh yeah, steal their money. No, no, none of this is right. They need to pay you. They need to stop taking y'all's money. This, like he knew everything. And he's like, you know what? I need y'all to go on the road. Got us a couple of us in California and things like that. And then this is about the time I'm heading to Mexico because, oh, there's an important part in here. I guess we have to talk about it, so let's talk about it. Um, there is a time I trained January 1st of '06 is when I first day I stepped into training. Big Dog was still alive, Brett was still alive, Milano Collection AT was there, Hector was there, and two new guys. I knew I went in with them, so they were two new guys. So three of us in the class. Went in there every day, trained every day. I want to say all the way to August, still training, selling tickets when we had shows. It's a different atmosphere as a wrestler back then and a training person. Like there's just a lot of teasing, like a lot. It just to like enormous point. The trainer would call Big Dog the N word and
Yikes.
yeah, no, it's documented. Everyone knew it. We all heard it. All of us heard it out of his mouth. People have said it. I don't know how he still does what he does, but whatever. There's other things, and I'm not going into that. But what I'm talking about was when it comes to like the training aspect and things, what happened. We were supposed to do some show in College Station around August time, some kind of benefit show. I don't remember how it all started or what the benefit was for. Can't remember. But because one of the kids, Hector, was there from College Station. God, I don't remember the reason why I'm so bad. It was during a time where he had gotten something in his armpit, like, and we didn't know what these things were back then. It was just like a bump or it looked like a pimple or whatever. And he's like, I just feel like shit. And then disappeared for like a day. He said he was in the hospital. And they gave him a bunch of medication, like take a pill, your antibiotics. And I don't like pills, as most of us are, right? I don't like any of that. Didn't want to take his pills. Didn't know because we really didn't understand the magnitude of what these things are happening. Whatever. Well, he had MRSA in his armpit from the nice dirty ring that we rolled around all the time. I'll say dirty because that shit never got clean. And they were doing some table matches, death matches, and stuff at the time at some of the shows, and I remember it clearly. So people can't dispute it. But I think I still have the video, or still in contact with the people who have the video. So okay. Anyway, so that he contracted MRSA at the time in his armpit. And I remember we had asked him because me and Brett were about to leave for College Station to go to that show and asked him, we saw him at his apartment. Are you cool? Are you good? Yeah, I'm good. He could barely walk. We literally had to lift him into his truck to drive because we still at this time didn't know how serious this thing was. Because you remember around that time, like MRSA was still like a new thing.
Hmm.
Like you usually just got a staph infection, not like a whole, mother
Yeah.
resistant something. Yeah, and so he's in there, and then I remember we get to the College Station show. Akbar was there. Oh, we had some ring steps on the back of the ring truck that we had secured. So we thought me and a couple of others. Those ring steps ended up along, Highway 71 somewhere. I don't know. So that's how great they were secured. And they were wooden. You remember those kind? Probably
Hell
caused a
yeah.
major pileup along the way. Um, we do the show. Oh, Becky Bayless is on that show too. Becky stayed with me at the time also.
Okay.
And then you see Hector just throwing up on the side of the ring. Whoa, he can't even walk. What is going on? Like it just didn't click because we never seen this before. And he's stubborn. He
Bro.
didn't take any medication. We're going home from the show, and I get a call from his mother, like Angela. He's in the ER and he's not going to make it. What the whoa? Which led to that went on about a 3-month process. He recuperated. We actually saw him a couple weeks ago at TWA. But the truth, and he'll tell you too, like, about how, people needed money from us, more of this, finding ways to get money out of us, borrowing money to pay the rent because they couldn't keep their school open. After he got that staph infection, that school was closed for a good, I want to say 6, 7 months.
Wow.
So they got started up a new class. They moved location, and so people when they saw my certificate, I thought you started January 6th. Why does it say something 07? I said because the school was closed at that time. If you didn't train there, there was nowhere to train, or you had a permission from your trainer to train at other places, or you were blacklisted. People don't even know anything about that stuff. So
Wow.
it was a mess. But yeah, it was a dirty ring. Someone almost died, and I like I said, I know exactly what went on. So that's why I said people can say whatever they want about me. I had nothing to lose when it comes to everything I know, you know? So it was around that point too, during the second, I call it the second season, because we went back and then there was a whole new class of clowns. And I say it because like they felt it was okay. This trainer felt it was okay to have that class be disrespectful to me. They thought it was okay for them to make fun of me and stuff too. It's like when we come in, the people that start before you are always your veterans. And I know they're not really veterans if it's only like a year or two, but that's how we were taught. Big Dog was always my vet. He's like 5 or 6 years ahead of me, right? So that he didn't know everything in the world, but it was just a respect thing. No, they were encouraged to be disrespectful as fuck to me. Like it was a bad. It was like I just wanted to get out of there. You know, I got MRSA that year too. And then the joke was, oh, it's sexually transmitted. No, you stupid fuck, it's not sexually transmitted, and that's not even a fucking funny joke. But that's the kind of shit I would hear. I fall asleep on car rides. They're videotaping me on car rides. Videotaping, dear God. They're recording me on car rides, stuff like that, you know, to where like I woke up and just started beating the fuck out of this guy for that. Because like I just got tired of that stuff, you know? Um, you just finally just get tired of being everyone's punching bag, and then at this point, still not even having a match. Refereeing because they didn't want to bring a girl in to wrestle you. They didn't want to pay them. Then,
Well, this was still the era, and I mean, you can't attribute it to one person alone, but I've heard this quote several times, if a
hmm
girl's on the show, basically it's so that way you wind up sleeping
hmm
with her later.
right.
And that's the mentality of
Oh, you mean like
bookers.
when I would go into sell tickets at this show, and then you have like a guy who's the only person from Texas on TNA wrestling at the time showing up and coming to you at the ticket table and telling you, "Hey, you got holes in your shoes. You want new shoes? You know what you can do for those." And he's told the story to many people as well, so it's not just me making up that story. He told it proudly because he thinks it's the funniest shit,
Every
you
time
know.
I
And I was
hear
like,
these
and I
stories, like they get worse and worse, and people are like, "Oh, it's not funny," and I'm like, it's more of an awkward laughter, really.
Well, and I told him I just no, I'll keep my shoes with the holes. I had because they were Adidas. They were comfortable as hell. I love Adidas. They had holes in them. They had holes in there my running shoes because it's all I had. You know, I was in school. I had to quit my regular job to go to training, and then Simply Luscious had gotten me a job at the strip club waitressing. So that's how we made our money for a while. We were working in the clubs, so yeah, I mean, like I said, there weren't normal schedule. Like no one accommodated your time. Training is only from 7 to 10 at night, and figure it out. Figure out a job to go work around it. If you didn't train, you didn't wrestle. And I mean, I get that if you don't train, you don't wrestle. I get it, but I mean, it was like two a way of even on Saturdays we were doing like Monday through Saturday, you know, and then flying on Sunday. So yeah, that's a wow. I haven't talked about those years in forever. Lord. That
That's what we're here for.
that's
So
the tame version. That's a PG version though, you know?
that's the right. That's the light version.
Mm. The one that doesn't get you sued.
Safe to say that wrestling is not like that now.
Thank God.
In some ways, in other ways, I kind of miss the mob mentality. Now, does that mean that probably means I wouldn't be anywhere near it? Which, hey, is that a bad thing?
Well, it was more of like they harassed you. I use that word because they would call it ribbing. But they
Hazing,
harassed
ribbing,
you.
yeah.
They harassed you until you quit. Much to their annoyance, I still haven't quit.
Right. Again, to make it about me, I remember one of the things that when I trained, one of the things that they did was like first I remember they chopped the hell out of me. trying to make me throw up or something. I don't know what they were doing, but that was a thing. And this wasn't even them. They did their own thing to me too, but nothing bad. Settle down, people. Not like they hogtied me, made me squeal like a pig or something. But no, I remember being chopped, and I remember this guy trying to basically break me and get me to stop. And I guess I was too stubborn not to make myself sound tough or pat myself on the back, but I kept getting back up. Like he'd hip toss me and do this thing, and I don't even remember what all he would do. And then he'd pin me to the ground and he'd count one, not even like a three count. He's putting me through a match, like my first time with this dude. And then I just hop back up and I'm like, it's like the old thank you, sir, may I have another? And I just remember that. And he was like, all right, he can hang with us. I'm like, yeah, all right.
But I think now in retrospect, some of those people are like, yeah, he can hang with us. I don't want to hang with you. If I had any self-respect or
Well, well, that's like the story I've heard you tell, that moment where it's like, you could hang with us. And that's when, Homeboy was trying to stab everybody. And I got in his ass about it and took the scissors away. Well, okay, he threw them at me, to be fair. And I took them
well,
and buried them. And I
okay,
just told y'all, I went
you know
downstairs. I
what?
said, hey, if they're looking for the scissors, I hit.
Let's really recap how obnoxious this place was, because there was like a dorm room or something above a bar, okay,
Some
and
kind of
then
Lord of the Flies preschool. I don't.
right. Well, this room was the dressing room, and you would think there would be like one room would be girls or one. No, I think I was still the only girl. Hold on.
It was like a loft apartment over, yeah, the bar.
Yeah, yeah. One room was specifically for Stabby McGee and him and whoever he called to the back in his secret society of Circle of Trust bullshit. I wasn't called that day, because let's see. Okay, that day I was refereeing, and I decided that I was going to talk to my long lost brother that I hadn't seen in so many years. Pedro from Loco, who was there. He was doing a Spider-Man gimmick thing. Remember, and since Pedro and I were so buddy buddy, I guess some people didn't like the buddy buddiness. So, in fact, after the main event, I got yelled at about how I almost ruined the whole match because I did exactly what I was told to do. That I was going to get pulled in front of somebody and I had to move out of the way, and how I didn't move quick enough. And then that other person was like, "No, she did what I told her to do," and then he's yelling at the entire locker room about me, like, okay, it is not that serious and everything went the way it was supposed to do. So I'm not sure what you're even yelling at this point, other than that you're a
Why
psychotic
are you
mess.
screaming? Yes.
Yeah, you remember that? And it was just like, so
I mean,
that's it.
that
And then,
happens everywhere. I I
so then
got I got yelled at. You were there, because I said a bad word and, I was told to come out and be just angry. And to be honest, I was pretty angry because I'm about sick and tired of the Texas treats, but that's a whole nother thing.
oh, that's right. And we also had a Indian lady in the Indian
Caramba,
Native American lady that had no business in
nombre,
the locker
way.
room
Come on now. Why
back
you gotta
there.
remind me of stuff like that?
That was fun. She was. That's when you make people your GM.
She was, what is she? She's Hispanic, right?
She was Native American, but yes, and
Was she Native
Hispanic. I
American?
think.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, she was. But she was like an out of shape, short version of China.
I don't
But
know what she was or what. I mean, I know why she was there, but yeah, dude. And
well, I mean,
there were
because when you're
always
cheating on your wife, that's what you're there for. Those are the people that you cheat with. Clearly, maybe
no.
that's why
That
they're
was
no
that
longer
was a mess.
married.
And yeah, and so anyway, yeah. This is the Booker Booker of the show, and he's upstairs ranting and raving like a lunatic because he's mad because one guy didn't show, which was the Star Attraction. And I was Star Attraction's manager at the time. And so it was my fault that this kid didn't show up. This kid,
Well,
I
he
don't even
didn't
have his
want to go.
phone number
He said he didn't want to go. Remember, he just didn't want
because he
to.
was afraid of him.
Yeah. Which is the unfunny part because he's still there on the flyers to this day. I don't understand how you literally trained. What are you in your third, fourth year, and you're still there?
And
You had an
so,
opportunity to leave. You didn't want to go.
but no, so he's mad. He's mad on this particular day that we're talking about. And it was nobody mess with me because I'm in a bad mood, and the first person that messes with me, I'm going to stab with this pair of scissors or something to that effect. And I'm sitting there, and I honestly just asked the question. I said, okay, so what do you want me to do? And I either got a chop there and something, and then he stormed off. That wasn't when he threw the scissors. He didn't throw the scissors till y'all were downstairs at the bar. And then he comes up
We
and
went to the
I
bar to get
asked,
away from him.
yes. And so I asked the question again because I got pulled into, again, folks, disclaimer, nothing weird happened, but I get pulled into strange bedroom with this guy where he sits. It's me and the promoter, the owner of the promotion, and him, and it's,
Is that what we call him?
and we're trying to hash out what's supposed to happen because this kid, the star attraction, is not there. And somewhere in there, leprechauns, and obviously you can tell that it wasn't a pleasant experience for me. And again, I guess it has to go back to the trauma and abuse thing where you just don't realize that it's going on for so long and you just sit there and take so much of it. I loved wrestling. I love being involved in wrestling. It's been a passion, a
Well,
dream of whatever of mine for a long time. And it was the promotion was headquartered 15 minutes from my house.
you know
So there you
what's
go.
funny is that I wasn't. I wouldn't say I wasn't friends with you at that point. I just there was no time we really ever crossed paths. I see you training here and there. There was no reason to really interact because I really didn't interact with anybody. And then I remember sitting on the couch, and I remember you were on the opposite couch, and then the stabby thing's going crazy, but you muttered something under your breath, and I
He,
heard it, and
he,
it was something like, "This motherfucker's gonna kill us all. Fuck him." And when you said "fuck him," I was like, "Aha!" I said, "This he's okay," because everyone there was brainwashed
I
to
said
him.
he's gonna kill us and he's gonna ruin the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, okay, but see, here's the thing: everyone there was brainwashed to him. I wasn't. I it seemed as though, but there's always a method to my madness. But once I heard that somebody else like was hip to like, hey, this guy's off the wall, like there's something wrong with him.
See,
I was like, okay, so I said, you know what, this guy gets it. Okay, because the thing is, I was ready to go already, but I needed a group because I always leave in a group. You know this. I always leave in a group, and because you mess with me, I'm taking your whole show with you, and I did.
yeah,
Remember? Like,
yeah.
so done it before. It wasn't my first rodeo, so it was one of the things like because first of all, because people see how you're getting treated and they don't like it, so that's when they stand up for you, whatever. But yeah, and I heard you, and I was like, aha, he heard it, and that's when, like, boom, that's how that whole thing just
So yeah, y'all
yeah.
went down to the bar, and I don't know what happened. I asked another question. This is my problem in life. I ask too many questions. Especially of bookers and promoters. Don't ask them questions. You're better off. No, so I asked another question, and I was across the room this time because there was like a couch by the wall, and then there's a TV, and then there was a table and some bar chairs, and we had some random model.
Do you know what's
I don't know.
crazy? No, no, no.
I
I
don't know what
remember
she.
now. No, no, no. No, that's she's actually Jesse James's wife now.
Yes, but she was
And then
there, and nobody knew why.
Yeah, we had Luigi Primo. We and even Kenny Calypso because I had to lend him my shoes.
I forgot
I
about
it's like
Kenny Calypso. Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, we had talent there,
there was a pretty
and
decent
talent.
roster there for a minute.
Well, they got the fuck out of Dodge.
If I mean,
Total Pimp was there too.
yeah, Total Pimp. We had.
And
I
Pedro
mean,
was there as Spider
I
Man, but
mean,
lowrider.
Micah's on WoW.
Why did you have to say that?
Sylvia Sanchez.
Okay, Gia Michelle's on WoW.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, you're controversial, aren't you?
Yeah. No, I mean Sylvia Sanchez. Yeah, but she was there on our show. She wasn't there at that show
She
though,
wasn't
because I
there
think
with me. We weren't there
no,
at the
no.
same time. I won't share
No,
a locker room with her husband.
you showed up and we lost her and Sabino. I wonder why. And I'm not okay. Again, folks, don't send me hate mail. I'm not knocking either one of them. I know exactly why, and I understand. Okay.
Oh, also, I got a talking to about that. I also got "We chose you" talking to how I should have been proud of how they chose me over the child predator and his wife and the other guy.
Well, that's a load of crap too. So I'll talk about that. They didn't choose. You showed up and they got mad and they buggered off, right? And again, if you know the history, folks, if you know, and you understand, and I get that. If I see these people in a room, typically I'm gonna go over here. And it's not because I'm afraid or anything else. I don't need the crap. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really funny because I went to the same bar and I did not know they were running a show that day. And oh man,
Yeah,
you would have
you're
thought
sending
that, like,
spies.
oh man. Anyway, so yeah, so I said that. I said what I said. Y'all went down to the bar. I was there and I said, okay, so this leprechaun thing, we're going to get it over and something's going to happen. And I don't know what I was talking about. But again, I asked a question. This fool throws a pair of scissors at me. Like, wow, like a knife. Like, here they come. And it's like, ha, ha. And so I took them and I buried them somewhere. And I
I think
hope
you
there's
joined us at the bar and you said I hid the goddamn scissors.
I did. I came downstairs. I said, if anybody goes looking for the scissor, because I've got, in case you guys can't tell, again,
Mm.
episode 1 here, but anybody that knows me knows that my brain is going 1,000 miles an hour all the time. I've got ADD, ADHD, whatever, body dysmorphia, and like 15 different other things. Dyslexia. No, so anyway, I will forget, right, that I've buried these scissors and then I don't want to lose the venue, right? So it's like, hey, when these people come looking for their scissors, I stash them in the somewhere. And I don't even remember where I put them. They're probably still buried wherever they are. But yeah, and that's what I said. And then, yeah, all of a sudden, but no, let me go back to they buggered off. But I remember about that same time, you know, we're practicing. And then here he comes and he's got this girl with him. And it's like, all right, everybody, listen up. This here's Angela, and she's wrestled in Mexico, and she's basically a legend. Something along those lines. Because I was
You
like,
saw it though in Laredo. That really did happen. Tell him
right.
about Laredo. Tell him.
But when he said that, you have that moment where I go, she's a legend. Okay, right? But and so, whatever. So, but in a very short amount of time, and there were some things that transpired, and I'll let you talk about that if you want to. If not, that's
Yeah.
fine. But some things transpired in there, and she went from being, you have to listen to this legend that's been in the business for like 15 years or something at that time, you know, to she is the shittiest referee in the history of ever. Don't ever listen to anything that she tells you. And it's like, what? Oh, and by the way, our legend, our one woman that was on the show, our legend had to like go change in the broom closet.
Hmm.
I didn't forget that either.
Yeah, it kind of did.
Yeah, you changed in it. You changed in the broom closet.
Dang.
But yeah, and then,
I had to
I
hide.
don't
Oh my God,
I
you
don't
know what?
know
I had to hide.
I don't know if you want to talk about it at this point, but you came in to wrestle
I did.
and you did not get to.
I was training.
And then they stuck you out there as a referee. Do you want to talk about it?
There's a big mental block out there, honestly,
Right. No, I understand it. I
it's
understand it.
kind of
I've blocked out a lot of that too.
because it just felt redundant, like of things that I had left, and I was assured wouldn't happen again, and they definitely did.
And
And then it was like, then the way that, and then it's not even just that, it's the two-faced shit that goes on. Like, make somebody your champion, right? And then talk shit about the guy, like, oh, he's such a dumbass. Like, we put all the belts on him one time at this other show that we were at. He can't get over. Da, da, da. And it's like, Why'd you make him your champion? Well, we only did that because, he's from the hometown that we played or whatever. Okay, well, but if you have a problem with the guy, why don't you say something? You don't. You're chicken shit. See, that's the thing is like that kind of shit is old in wrestling. Like, stop talking about others and fucking do something. If you're not gonna do something, shut the fuck up.
Well, and
Like
then
that's the thing. Like that. The thing is, nobody would stand up to this guy. Like, you know, like and it's I don't know. That's just with that time there. I just couldn't get out fast enough. Um.
but we made it out, and actually I ended up I won't take 100% of the credit for it at all, but we ended up what was spinning all of that into a positive, and you ended up getting an award out of that. You ended up referee of the year,
hmm hmm I
thanks
was well.
to thanks mostly in part to somebody. So I have to
Gino
tell
Medina.
people,
Gino Medina, because I got to referee most
yes.
of his matches. Oh
Well,
God, my most
I
out of
was
shape ass at the time. I'm trying to keep up with Spot Fest Medina. Like I love him to death, but
well,
God darn it, I can't.
I I was going to talk about and then I'll talk about something else transitioning into like referees, and then that leads to wrestlers, and yeah, question. We spoke on the phone yesterday about this, and I'll get there eventually. I see our time clock, but you know what? It's fine. No, so I was going to say during the pandemic, everybody's sitting at home not doing a whole lot, and I wound up on this singing thing, and from there, and I was already doing the wrestling thing, and we were on hiatus. I will say that about the previous place we were talking about that we worked. We had a show right before the pandemic like happened like that week, and it was a
Mhm.
pretty badass show. I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty fun. It was a really good show. Um, that had a big
Well,
unresolved storyline that I always wondered where that would have gone, but
these shows weren't so bad until like things started to get out of hand again.
well, and then we
Like
wanted to
when it,
to run like 3 times a weekend in different towns on the same day,
and then I got in trouble for
and
like, oh, I'm sorry, I have to work that day. You kind of can't just pop
yes,
up a show. Sorry.
and then we're working. So I remember one time it got really confusing. Miss Pat De La Zerta,
hmm
if you're watching, hi Miss Pat, we love you. But
She has the best donuts.
she was one of the faithful Krispy Kreme donuts in San Marcos. Not a sponsor, but they should be.
Sponsor me.
Anyway, no, she was one of the faithful that came to our shows. There was her and that guy that used to cuss me every single week. He comes to RCW sometime,
The
but
long hair
I can't
guy that
remember.
was the medic.
No, oh God, no, not him. That's a different guy. No, this guy has glasses, and I should know his name, and I feel really bad that it's not with me right now. Anyway, but yeah, he cusses me every time he sees me. But so we ran a show, let's say in the junkyard over here, for instance, or okay, let's class it up a little bit. We'll go to the crawfish place. So
hmm
we're running this show, and I'm coming out, and I'm managing. I manage the 7 foot tall, 500 pound, right? And then, okay, tomorrow night we're running Come and Take It in Austin, and now I'm not his manager. I'm managing Cobra and Chino. Hey guys, I'm managing Cobra and Chino over here as a tag team against my guy and this other dude, and
And we
they're
got a
in
new
Road Warrior
GM.
paint, yeah, and like it's like, what is going on here?
Oh yeah, the come and take it's where the fisting pictures appeared, and that was my last straw. That's that. There it is. Because a picture surfaced of the angles that we're at. Come to find out, this guy that's in the picture that didn't want to be involved was a child predator too. Remember that?
Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah, he
that.
was an
Yeah.
actual child, but that had nothing to do with that. And it's just the angles that it was looked like he was quote unquote fisting me, and I'm the ref because I bent over because I was breathing, whatever. So I was just done because at that point somebody they put captions on it and made a haha and it got circulated around. So funny.
Now,
When it
okay,
was brought up to manage, hold on, it was brought up to the booker, I don't understand what's the problem. Like he didn't have a problem until it got out to the internet. Once somebody put it out to the internet saying it's fucked up, then all of a sudden it was like, whoever made it, I'll fire them on the spot. Well, then you need to talk to your GM that you have out there, the Native American lady who thought that was so funny, and her little camera lady friend who gave her the photo, because clearly whoever took the photos of the show was passing them around, and that's where it all started, because that's where all the problems were starting.
Now,
Because, yes,
I okay.
yeah.
I'm only going to bring this. I'm not. I don't want to stir the pot necessarily, but it was pointed out because I was in management at this time. It
Hmm.
was stated to me. They said, "Well, you know, it was funny before when Pink had made a deal of somebody else, and I've never seen this that you made. I don't think I might have it. I might have it, but yeah, it's like it was funny before. Now, I have seen I have seen a whole YouTube channel, but so I mean, do you want to address that and say, I
The funny
mean,
part about that YouTube channel is that when that was created, that person was there with us, working with us in the same office.
but he was in on the joke? Is
He was
that
in on the whole joke. The only time it stopped was when he started to feel like, well, the joke gets a little too funny. It just gets too funny, and like we're having a blast, and he no longer is having any more fun with it. But he
a
was
little too
originally part of the whole. Yeah, he was a part of the whole thing. We all worked
or so
together.
he was in on it the whole time, like the
Yeah, we had it.
self-deprecating.
Yeah, and he even allowed us. We had his pictures up on in our cubicles.
Okay,
Everything.
well, see, I mean, there's like 15 sides to every story, folks, but
Well, the thing is, like, yeah, okay, it hurt. It hurt. Cool. The everything got taken down and never brought up again. Cool. But
until
the thing
until
is,
he chose to bring it up, or I just
right.
brought it up right
Well,
now,
it's
but
funny that you would bring those things up, but then you can go write a whole book and then leave out people that were involved in your life and, a lot of your career. But cool, cool. You see what I'm
you
saying?
were
So, do I
yeah.
exist or do I not exist? Because make up your mind. If I don't exist, I don't. If I do, I do. You know? Cool.
So, I mean,
I got the book for free.
and all right. I feel like we should transition and talk about career now.
Well,
It
which
says
part?
it says here, this is cagematchfolks.net. You can find all the stats, CageNet, not a sponsor of the
God,
show, but they should be,
no.
the Internet Wrestling Database. But it says here, you held the RCW Tag Team Championship with I bring this up because said person who doesn't actually exist.
Right. Don't.
87 days. That's a pretty impressive title run.
People put days on there? Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Okay.
It says, is that true? Did you hold the title for 187 days? Do you
We
know?
had it for some time. Here's the thing. Back then, we ran monthly, even sometimes twice a month. And I don't mean
We're
this in
getting
this.
there.
I don't mean this to slight anybody. When I was in RCW back in the day, that was my San Antonio show. I would come home to see my family. Then I went back out on the road.
Because you were doing a lot of stuff in like Mexico and
Yeah.
California.
Oh God, yes. I was in South Carolina. I was in Florida. I was all over the place. So if we did, we did. Like it. And it didn't mean it in any bad way. It's just that it's the only place I worked when I went home. So I knew I was going to see family, friends, and coworkers, whatever. But I don't know. I don't remember a lot of it from then too either, because said person was around also. A lot of
And
times it did.
actually,
It actually, and I'll be honest, a lot of times it turned into one of the worst days of my life. Every time I had to do that damn show, because it was
and
a.
then what's funny to me is, and it's just from footage and things that I've watched for some reason, and I think it's because of who you had to work with.
Mhm.
I remember you more as international champion, and it says here that was only 28 days.
It was short. Yep.
That was like a
Because
month.
because the feud went on for a while.
Yes,
We had an initial like four-way, me, Darcy, and Anna versus Big Dog. And then we had that initial match. That's where I separated my shoulder. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want to. I was finally getting a title run.
right.
Run. Okay, let's see here. We did that build up. Just before that, I just wrestled Big Dog 1-on-1 with the lightsaber, the infamous lightsaber match. Um,
A lightsaber match?
well, no, it we had this group of Star Wars people that used to go to our show. I forgot their names, but I don't know if Boss Man was involved in it to what extent, but they're Sith, right? Something called Sith
Man,
Society.
RCW was the Wild West back in the day. I'm telling you.
It's well, okay, so they're all there, and I'm advised by the booker when I'm back there about to wrestle Dog.
This is
You
the
got
same
this.
Booker, by the way, from the other place that, anyway. Yeah.
You got this. Go get the just get one of their lightsabers and beat the crap out of him at that point when he's on the stage. Okay, cool. I got it. I can do
Wait,
that.
are these the expensive lightsabers?
I didn't know. I didn't know. I wasn't that kind of a fan, so I followed
I'm a
instructions.
total nerd. I have checked this.
So
This is
go
my
watch
name badge from Galaxy's Edge at Disney.
that match. That match is on YouTube where you see me just knocking the shit out of Big Dog with that lightsaber to where it's dead.
Yes, okay.
I killed a $200 lightsaber on him.
Yeah.
Come to the back. They are pissed. And the Booker was like, "You what? Why did you do that? You know you're gonna have to pay that back." What? And yeah, so but my whole title run, I think I worked for free of the
Wow.
international title because and I even said, well, so and so told me, and conveniently that said that was never told to me. Like, why would I take somebody's lightsaber? I mean, I will take somebody's beer and spit it on somebody, but that's a whole other story. But with people's items, no, I thought somebody had worked it out with them. I don't know what they had agreed to or not agreed to, but you should know if I could set a lightsaber, man, beat the shit out of somebody with it, maybe. But yeah, that was fun. But as I said, so I don't remember dates and times. It felt like I had the international title forever, but I think it was just because I think it just meant so much to me. That title really meant the world at the time, because we didn't have a women's title, you
That
know.
that title holds a special place in my heart for different reasons, but yeah. No, I got you.
Well, I didn't carry it through the COVID era or anything, but no, but that one, it's just that it was new. Not
3
many,
years.
not many people had held it at the time, and yeah, I was co-champion, and I felt like I did some of my best skit work with Andromeda, as always.
I miss vignettes.
I ask,
I would
I ask,
love, like,
but
this is what I would absolutely love. I would love for one of these jerks that, we have to work with, and by jerks I mean I love everybody on my roster, I do. But I would love if one of these people would just barge into my office one time and be like, "Listen here, Pettis,
I think the last time you did a skit was when you Black Rose beat the crap out of somebody.
we beat up Brandon because he
Okay.
fired me."
That's probably why we're not allowed to anymore.
Boom, 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 fired. Had enough of that. That's when I branched out on my own because I'd been his assistant, and he had to just roll with Colt Cabana because Colt Cabana's so great. Where's Colt Cabana now, right?
I'm not getting sued.
I love you, Colt. No, because yeah, that was what it came down to. Was I picked Anthony Andrews to be the captain of Team Boom Boom, and Colt Cabana had a problem with it, and Colt's overinflated ego got the better of him, and
It's
he got
Boom Boom
mad at
Colt
Anthony.
Cabana.
And he got mad at Anthony, and then, he and Anthony had an exchange of words, and then, yeah, Boom Boom fired me for it. And in retaliation, I got Anthony and Casey to take care of Boom Boom for me.
And
Because
because of that, we can no longer do vignettes. Thank you.
that's the kind of manager I am.
Bring down the world.
Well,
You know what? Let's transition this a little bit because I do love talking about performance stuff. I know we can bring that up in a minute, but I want to talk about, I think, some of the best times I've had. And it's strange. Like, you would think, oh, I wrestled here, I wrestled there, I did this, I did this. I wrestled Princesa Suhei in Mexico. I got killed. It was like my second match in my life, I think. And I still love her to this day, and she'll still talk to me. She's the greatest wrestler I've ever seen. Um, those things, right? We'll talk about those things. But some of the best times I had was just being back, right? And when we got to manage some people, and then getting the acknowledgement of your peers as a veteran or somebody that they want to ask questions to or things, you know? Um, like like Mysterious Q, right? Um, I worked I started working with him, I want to say 2007 or 8 in WoW wrestling. I think it was NWA Southwest, Houston. We called it Tugs, Tugboat Taylor's show. And I met him there, and for whatever reason, he never got to be on our shows. We always wanted him there, though. But it just, like, to be able to manage him a couple years ago, it's like, those are big things for me. Like, like, he's my peer. And now I even look up to him because his work is so good, even though, like, we've been around probably the same amount of time.
Managing Q was a big deal for me.
Yeah.
And not because he was, the RCW champion. I'll turn this around because I call this Q's belt
Hmm.
because this is the belt that we took with us to Corpus
Okay.
for GCWA, and that's the belt that he wore and defended, and which is really cool because
I
I
was
get
the first. I was the first female of the.
really
I would help with the girl students that were down there. A couple that I got to work with at back then, Brittany and Stratic. I don't. Lisa is her name, but like, I worked with the students when I could. The Galvans always took care of me, especially Paul, the Mr. Galvan. I call him Mr. Galvan, but yeah, Grandpa. So yeah, I have a very special place in my heart for GCWA, and there. I was really sad to hear that Claire's battling breast cancer, and they're about to do that show next. So I just had to bring that up because you brought up GCWA. But yeah,
well, and did I see that Ben has to step away from wrestling or
Vin, who's Vin?
I or Galvan,
No, 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 no. I'm sorry, Baby Galvan. What is Josh?
Josh?
Josh. Josh has some concussion issues and things like that.
I happened to glance and I saw one of them, and while you were talking about that, it made me
Yeah,
think about.
yeah, he did, and the craziness of what, and because I see the littlest one, I'll see him at shows still, and the sister and all them. I knew these kids as kiddos when I was wrestling, and so they're all grown, like, "Hey, Pete," and it's like, wait a minute, you look just like your dad. you know, you,
It's
jeez.
weird. It's weird when you do that too, because I look at some of like the kids that we work with now. I haven't lived in Texas. I've lived in Texas what 12, 13 years, something like that. But I've been around RCW now for about 6 years. But it's weird to look back and see some of these people now in the ring that I watched when they were training, and it's
Or
like
refereeing.
you're right. I'm the old guy in the room. Well, that's what I was thinking of when I was thinking of, and I never finished the thought on the referee of the year deal.
Hmm.
But back in the other promotion, I remember one of the big matches that I interfered in. We had Black Rose as a referee, and then
Oh yeah.
actually the match where Anthony won the international title at RCW, my RCW debut. Casey Blackrose was the referee for that match as well.
Wow.
And it's weird to think about that, you know.
Like you set the whole thing up from the get go. Long term storytelling for the win.
Yeah, and then I wind up managing him, yeah. And now he's like got 3 million belts and
Well,
wrestling on live
without putting
TV.
people on the spot, I can name a couple of them that like they were fans of mine, and now they're like looking and doing their thing. It's crazy, and it's like, but I'm not old. You're old. I'm not
Wasn't
old. I'm not
oh
old.
right wasn't that the story Key Vibes? Wasn't that her?
One of them, Devin, Casey. There was maybe another.
I'd say Callie, but Callie's too young, right?
Oh, Callie wasn't even born, I'm sure.
That's weird to think
She
about
was.
too.
Yeah, but what's it called? Yeah, no, it's just like this because it's weird and it's hard to explain, but like you don't feel people tell you you're old or whatever, or oh, you're that old if you tell them your age, right? But in here, I don't feel that. I still feel like I'm in my 20s. Not right now, remember, because I said I'm the best I felt in a year, so I feel like I went back in time and I still feel great. I don't feel like I'm the age that I'm supposed to be. if that makes any sense.
I've
Maybe
always heard
that's
age is
why.
a state of mind anyway.
Well, I also wonder if that's why people don't retire. Like,
Until I stand too long, and like my sciatica starts acting up, and then I'm like, oh yeah.
well, see, the thing is, when I was out of shape, overweight, and all that stuff, I was having problems with everything. I was getting cankle swellings and all kinds of shit. And my back hurt, this hurt, that hurt, and
I'm
I
gonna
haven't
have to
had
see if
those.
I can splicey because you guys can't see her, but I will say this right here in public. Pink looks fantastic.
Well, I mean, I it's movement, right? Like I know what I'm supposed to
In
do. If you ever see me
in
fat, I'm going through a slump. Duh, you know,
well, yeah, no. But no, that's what I'm saying. In comparison to, when I met you way
three
over
or four
here,
years.
and to
Yeah,
get me to notice, you have to, like, I don't know, jump through flaming hoops of fire. Because most of the time, like I said, I'm over here playing with this highlighter, looking at these gold monkeys or whatever it is that I'm doing.
right.
Pink. So I'll tell you guys this. Every time we get together, the first thing she goes is like, "You can tell I lost weight." Right?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I'm like, I don't have as many chins this time as I did the last time.
It's true. It's a big
And
deal.
so I can honestly say now, no, you don't have as many chins as you used
God no, and the moon face is gone. Thank God.
to. I have taken her chins and I have applied them to my own gut.
So, because you said that this show, like, well, there's other things outside wrestling and stuff too. Like, I've started a whole cleaning business. Like, and stop it, I'm college educated and all that stuff. But you know what? And you want to know what the title? You know what I named it?
Yeah, yes, I clean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
actually, it's the Mexican cleaning lady.
we need more lemon pledge.
Because the thing, there's no lemon pledge in the Star Destroyer. We need Windex, Mister
Muchos
Mister
hornos.
Mr. Clark. No here. Okay, no, that's the thing.
Show
Like,
number one, we're canceled already for our racial stereotypes. They tell me I'm white and I believe them. I don't see color, so
so no, but the thing is, in cleaning, people need things done in a certain amount of time, certain amount of stuff, certain things expect to make a certain amount of money, right?
makes
So
sense. Yeah.
that means you have to get off your fat ass and move and do things. And oh my God, people, could you please turn on your vents or something? Because like I am sweating and like trying to clean a bathtub in a bathroom. There's no ventilation because I mean,
These cheap asses are cutting off like the AC during the day.
I look when we turn on that fan though. I tell you, like oh, I gotta get some. Because the thing is, if I'm over here cleaning, I'm sweating. But if I'm sitting there on the couch, of course, I'm not noticing the temperature or whatever. But gosh, so that has helped in the progress too. So think about it. Think of it as like 4 to 6 to up. There's been times I did it 12 hours because it depends on how many houses I have. But imagine that amount of cardio all day. So, and in fact, tomorrow morning I'm in Canyon Lake in New Braunfels, and then I go to TWA. Oops, I mean that's kind of a surprise, but I go over there and then do some more cleaning on Saturday. Then I go on Sunday to River City Wrestling. So, you know,
Hey, Corvus, speaking of, I exist, right? You want to come on the show?
Corvus is great. Fun fact, Corvus I've known since 2000. Worlds Collide, Ryan Danielson versus Milano Collection AT, who could not make it due to eye surgery. They took him out and put in Christopher Daniels instead. That was the greatest show Rudy ever ran. I said his name. But that was
Oh,
because we passed out 10,000 flyers. We did the legwork and the gate was 300. I know because I was the one selling tickets. So I'm not going to lie. But yeah, and everybody got paid. I remember that, having to hand all that money out. It was nice. Corvus, I will not say his real name. Corvus was there. Corvus is a very big fan of Hector, the one that was sick. I told you about earlier on the show. But yeah, no, Corvus very good people. So we go back way, way, way back. And I really appreciate him in having me on TWA because he's had me believe in myself and I've gotten to do some things I haven't been able to do. I put my boots on a couple weeks ago my boots fit. That was a big deal for me, you know? So he gave me that opportunity. Yeah, did I stand there? A little bit, you know? I got to put my boots on, and I haven't been given that opportunity in quite some time, you know?
So so you've got things going on. You're not just the RCW Women's General Manager.
No.
I mean,
I mean, I represent them at TWA though.
uh-huh.
I
No, I
had to
got you.
make sure that the belt stayed in America. Okay, sorry. And until that's resolved, the belt needs to stay where it is until we
I
resolve that
mean,
question
I
mark.
let it go to Central America.
Yeah, and it was also the same time where they were telling people they were moving there for good too. You remember that? So
Yeah, that kind of freaked me out a little bit.
yeah, that was a big panic in the office. Okay, so we need to make sure that our question marks stay in place until we get that figured out. Which I pray to God we get this done in February because both question marks are in the Rumble.
They're both in the Rumble, right?
Yes, both belts are on the line.
Speaking of, folks, I guess I should point this out. I don't know when this will air exactly. We were speaking before we started the show, but man, how about that Rumble, right? That was a humdinger of a show.
And congratulations to the RCW champion? Question mark.
All right, now, hang on. Now we've got to back up and be like, so, the Rumble this Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Can we expect anything crazy? What's going on? What's happening? What's
It would be a miracle if I can remember everyone's name correctly.
See, folks, this is how this works. Okay, we're the general managers. We get to set things, we get to do things, and we pick this stuff. Well, I mean, to put together a rumble, it takes some time. So we kind of had this set like back here. So yeah, if we don't necessarily remember everybody, but that's what the internet's for, kids.
The
I
internet
can tell you,
remembers. Pepperidge
I
Farm
can tell you
remembers.
Pepperidge Farm, remember in the men's rumble. Hang on, I got to put my glasses on for this because some of these people I don't know necessarily by face. We have my boy Anthony Andrews, the one of the longest, I think, the longest reigning international champion. He held that belt for like 3 years, y'all.
He held that trophy longer.
Anthony Andrews, and then we've got Chris Marvel and Don Juan. Don Fernando. I think I said that right. Stud Stash, Jesse James, Reyna Pink, up and comer, blue chipper kid, as Jim Ross would
Ryla's really
say,
good. Ryla's good.
from the hybrid school of wrestling. I've heard good things. I haven't had an opportunity to get to make it out to anything recent hybrid, and I feel bad about that, but that's life, and that's what all the people say. Eric Walker, we got Danny Vintage. I like Danny
Hold
Vintage.
on. Is Eric Walker alive?
Oh, yeah, he got the stomped out of him, didn't he?
By the pillar.
I might
So
have to
did
double
that.
check him.
Also, what about our gate? Is it okay? The guardrail. The
Oh, the
guardrail.
guardrail? No, those guardrails haven't been okay for 20 some years. So,
The same ones when I was there.
boom, boom. It's time to invest in some guardrail. That just came out of my check. Anyway, right. Guess who's not on the show for the next year?
Just love the
Danny Vintage. No,
lightsaber.
I like Danny Vintage. That is a fun gimmick, and I'll just leave it
That's
at that.
your opinion.
I'm not gonna go in and critique anybody else's gimmick. That's not what I'm here for. Logan Knight. It'll be nice to meet Logan Knight in person.
Okay, when do we get to Overkill?
And then we're getting there. Hang on. We got Luigi Primo. What's this guy's name? Animo. The Pillars of Destiny. Both Hunter Gray and Paul Titan going to be in there. Epi will be in the Rumble.
Woohoo!
Diego Rene. There's Devin Carter.
Yay.
Those guys. Armani Sage.
Yes, he's around from the Hybrid School of Wrestling as well.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
I booked this thing. I don't know
this
who
will
these
be
people are.
his debut for RCW.
And then Warren J and Zilla. They
Fly
are.
Def,
That's Nastico's tag team.
Fly Def.
Overkill is going to be in this thing.
Hold on,
Jay
hold
and
on, hold on.
Edge.
Nope, 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 nope.
No.
The Texas Terminator, Jay Alexander.
Oh, fine.
Let's see here. Edge Stone was Booker T's champion for quite some time. Not just Overkill. Although, geez Louise, they have a lot of hardware too. They always have a lot of belts. They're belt collectors as well.
And then we have the Flamingo King, the Emo King, the Flamimo King. I don't
Brandon
know
Weiss.
what he's. Yeah, him. David Teen, Jay Young, Angel Camacho, Jesse Funaki,
Oh,
Zakai
Angel.
Living.
Oh, hold on. Angel Camacho. Oh, with the attitude change in the Camachos last show.
Bro,
He ruined that match. Why? What was going
no
on?
idea.
Oh,
No
dear.
idea what's going on with him or Emmy for that matter.
And I say that Jesse Funaki is my dark horse to win that Rumble. That's
That's
why
fair.
I'm putting my money there.
That's fair.
Give him a challenge that he can't fucking tear down.
And then, yeah, he wins the Rumble and then goes on to RCW Mania for the championship
Championship.
against Bo Amir or
Rob Love.
Rob Love. That's the other thing. We've got Rob Love versus Bo Amir for the RCW championship. Oh, and then not to leave out, I don't want to leave out Jacob Toa is also been announced for the Rumble. And I don't know if anybody saw my graphic online, but I have also announced that my presence will be known at the Rumble. In the Rumble? We don't know. I am the general manager. I can do as I please.
Apparently.
If I want to be in the Rumble, I can be in the Rumble. But I have made an announcement, and I'm making the announcement right here that I am declaring that I will be present at the Rumble Royale.
You should be, isn't that your job?
Decipher what that means. And then, of course, Pink, if you want to talk about your proportion.
Wow. Can you read it out to me though?
Sure.
Then I can just before I butcher all the
Womans.
names. Okay.
The Woman's Rumble participants. Nope, that's the men. Hang on, back up. Is it really just this one page of Womans?
Yeah.
Okay. We have the question mark kids, La Leona and Calientita.
Where do you see Nastico in there?
No, Nastico's just on the poster, along with the ring announcer.
On both posters. Okay.
Emmy Camacho.
Okay.
London Dior.
Welcome back.
JL.
Welcome back. I just said welcome back.
I thought you said, who's that? I was like, she was
No,
at
no. No, welcome back.
Key Vibes.
Woohoo!
Ridley Thorne, I'm a fan. And then we got Celine Hysteria.
She's a Chola.
Yes.
Okay.
Gia
Michelle. Denise Day. Welcome back.
I gotta put on my glasses. I don't
See, told you that's why I couldn't read it.
Again, I don't recognize it. Here we go, like an old man.
Ladybird.
I just zoom in. Oh, look at that. That'll help. Sophia Rose.
I don't know.
Dream.
Kaya Dream is from Booker's school. Yeah.
See, folks, other wrestling happens, and I don't believe it. If you want me to believe it, book me,
Lady Bird. She's from AAPW and Mission
AAPW, okay.
And Booker's
in
now,
Austin.
I think. Yeah, she was originally from that school. Yeah.
Okay, Lady Bird Monroe, Tina Nix, Morgan Mercy, Shay Carmichael, Zy or Z Gold. Is it Zy?
No say.
It's ZY. Maya World.
Yeah, Maya World.
SOS.
I'm really excited about Maya World.
I've seen Maya World. SOS and Nova Phoenix. Nova Phoenix, a veteran of the sport of women's professional wrestling. I'll put my glasses on and look like an old man again. So we were talking about kids and being old and all this stuff, and it makes me think of recently Ricky Starks was on NXT. I saw.
God, I saw him at VIP in like 2016.
I bring up Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks was on My debut show in Texas was Mission Pro Wrestling Genesis, the first
I
Mission
was there
Pro
too.
show. And yes, Ricky Starks, if you look, I've got a picture because at that point I was just some fan that interfered in a Baby D match and tried to get her to be a client, and she had none of it.
And you were scrubbed from all memory.
And then, yeah, I just kind of disappeared. We're not sure what happened after that. But Ricky Starks was there, as was, I was going to talk about her. It was her debut show. She wrestled her coach, Jazz, Maddie Rinkowski, who is, Ren Sinclair now. And of course, she did some AEW stuff and was on Ring of Honor, I believe. And then also on that show was Roxanne Perez. And it seems like that was just a few short years ago. And it seems like they came up. Now you mentioned Ricky Starks was like way back over here, and I don't want to like, I was gonna say I don't want to like step on like toes or anything. I don't know exactly how to word this, but I asked you this question yesterday. Is there a magic number? Like, is there a certain amount of time that you feel like you are in this business, and like if you don't make it by that point, it probably ain't happening?
The number keeps changing because if you look at even TV now, a lot of the people in the mains are in their 40s, you know? So you would think at some point, though, but it seems like a lot of them, like, because these are people that, like, when I was here, they were, like I said, in Ring of Honor and whatever, and then there they are. They're the mains on WWE. So it's like, what?
I'm not even saying like age, right?
Hmm.
I don't know. It was WWE that controversial put out, a few years ago that they're not taking anybody over the age of 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow,
Well,
okay.
they also put out years ago about how they wouldn't take anybody that wasn't a diva or model. Remember that?
Well, but that changed with the women's revolution.
No, well, I know, but there was a time that that's basically what we were told, and if you really, they kind of let you know you don't look
That's
like a diva. Like, okay, no
well, that
shit.
you're talking about like back when you were coming up in the game, yeah.
Hmm.
It's crazy. It's crazy in just such a short time, again, window of time. The things that you had to go through
Hmm.
as a woman trying to be in this profession and, a woman now.
So in
And
relating,
most of it, I won't say some of it, most of it for the better. There's some things that I'm still kind of on, but
you
that's
should,
because, again, I feel like I came from, again, not to pat myself on the back, but from like, I guess, a tougher generation.
but in telling some of these
Zero
stories,
friends today.
like there'll be like a circle of girls listening to the stories, and you should just see their face of like, what?
You
Oh,
had to do that?
I would never do that. And I like, they'll ask you this
Put your
question. They'll ask you this question. How bad do you want to be in this business?
Exactly. Put yourself as a young, hungry 18-year-old girl in 2000 and whatever.
Mm,
Well, I mean, I'm not saying this. Let's not be stupid here. This still goes on today. It's just,
probably.
it's no, it's much more easier to get called out for it. But obviously there are certain people that have been called out that are still getting by with stuff today. And that's not to pick on anybody or imply anything here. Don't sue me. No, yeah, again, yeah. If you really want to do this thing. And then, okay, let's go into your situation and go slap a celebrity in this position, somebody that is on television, that is doing what you want to do in that spot. It's real easy for somebody to say, well, I would never do that. I would just, but when somebody who is in that spot that you want to be in, that knows the right people, that, whatever, yeah.
And at the time, the only person that you could go through, pretty much, or we thought, because no one else was on TV that close in close proximity
To be fair,
to the rest
this
of
this
us.
person, yes, it seems to be like the most accessible person that's ever been on television.
Right.
But no, I mean, I understand coming from the music world. I mean, I never in a million years have had to go through some of the things that you've had to go through. But I also understand, finding the right person whose butt I've got to kiss because they know such and such and such and such and such and such.
Right.
People jump on their high horse and are quick to judge. And again, I'm not saying it doesn't happen today, and I'm sure it totally does. But yeah, hats off
True.
to you and everybody else that ever had to go through it.
That's
Hell,
good.
for staying here. I don't know.
Well,
I have a good sense to stick around. I have moments
no,
now where it's like,
we're trying to just leave it better than the way we found it.
that's fair. That's
Because,
that's completely fair.
or at least that's the plan, you know?
Now, do sometimes I wish, I have that cornet mentality where it's like I kind of wish that we would vet a little harder some of the people we let in, but I think there's a lot of greedy people out there running wrestling schools that'll just take $1,000 from some kid that, if they can get it.
Well, the problem is, too, you tell the one kid no, and then they become famous somewhere else, or you get sued because you're something against
You're
them.
just discriminating somehow.
Hmm.
And then that makes, okay, you were one of the, I won't say pioneers, but you were very big involved in like the Me Too thing or the Speak
Hmm.
Out or whatever it's
Hmm.
called, where you stood up and spoke out against, discrimination. You were discriminated against, I feel. So it's fair to use that term,
Financial abuse.
right? You
Hmm.
know,
It was one of them.
it's fair to use that term, discriminated. We'll say you were discriminated against.
Hmm.
Okay. And then these kids that want to whine and cry because, yeah, a guy was like, well, no, kid, sorry, you're not going to make it in this business. I hate to tell you that. And it's like, oh, boo hoo hoo, I was discriminated again.
Well, back when they had a
And then it,
Southwest
and that
Championship
makes that
Wrestling
whole thing.
here, Joe Blanchard pretty much wanted football players. Like, did you play football? He got a lot of the West Texas State guys. I mean, that's just how it was. You had to know somebody. You had to be
Vince
athletic.
McMahon got by with it forever, and he had his guys on national TV. He wanted big, jacked up roid freaks.
Hmm. Hmm.
It happens. I mean, there's nothing I guess you can really do. Some promoters have their preferences as to what they want to put on their show, and that's
Hmm.
their prerogative, I guess. We could get real political with that real quick because that's just like the whole idea. Okay, I'll pick on Mission Pro for a second, and I'm not picking on Mission Pro, but I'm going to use them as the example. Okay, they went from being, this to an all women's promotion. Well, where does that leave me? Now, there are plenty of other promotions that I can work for and work at, and that's fine. And I do, and I'm not saying anything against them. But yeah, we could get into a whole thing about that and promoters that just want this particular thing. And
Hmm.
this is I don't know that I'm ready to delve into politics yet in a show.
Do you think that, I know the answer, but do you think it's even possible to have an actual all women's promotion outside of Shimmer? We're not talking about Shimmer. I love Shimmer, but it's almost impossible. Any guesses as to why?
Well, no, MPW did it for a while. Granted, I wasn't there. I guess I can't really speak on that.
Mhm.
I don't know who. I know on the facade, on what I could see, everything was done by women.
It was. I
Okay,
don't know. I
yeah.
was
I
there.
mean,
I was there
again,
for a show, and
I
it was all
wasn't I
women.
wasn't there, but I mean, they did a pretty good run of it. But then, yeah, I mean, we started slipping in JP Harlow and Black
Well,
Rose was there for a minute.
they did the one when I was there was when they did that first men's match back, but they were only going to keep out like one. Like it's almost like an exhibition.
And so they're doing the reverse of a traditional wrestling promotion because for years I hate to use this term, but it popped into my head. But for years, it's always been seen the women's match was the piss break match.
Okay, there's a pet peeve in there,
I was about to say, I know
real
you're
quick.
gonna have something to say.
No, not about that. And I people still do it to this day. Who's ready to watch the women wrestle? Oh, and next is a women's match. That's a big pet peeve because of what it implies. Do you understand?
It's very circus freakish.
Now we got them ladies. No, because even if you do it this day and age, it's like, where are we athletes? What are we? what are we? You know, like you basically set it up for that way. Like,
As much as, again, it's as much as women's wrestling has progressed, it's still seen as some sort of secondary or inferior thing.
yeah, yeah. I still have DMs that I never opened from
It's
2011, 2012 of men just wanting to talk and hey, like what's up and all this shit in my inbox. What are you doing? You know, like what are you doing? I wrestle and you're in my inbox. Why? You know? And it's a lot. I mean, it's like in the thousands of messages and it's crazy.
I believe it. I was friends with we all know this. I was friends with Baby D for a good while.
Hmm.
And like I don't remember if she ever showed me her inbox, but she told me of the horror stories that were just hanging out in her inbox. And
Yeah.
like she's notorious for ghosting people anyway, and I understand completely why. As a matter of, well, no, I won't. I won't tell that story. I won't tell that story. I don't want to embarrass anybody. I'm not going to tell that story. I'll tell you about that later.
Hmm.
We'll talk about that off air. That's spicy. Let's see. In my infinite amount of research that I did for this show, obviously, I discovered that you have never taken a Greyhound bus to Boise, Idaho. Why is that?
I was never invited.
Fair enough. All right.
Because I mean,
That was
for years I was getting on a Greyhound bus anywhere.
that was a fair answer.
I like potatoes.
What
Like throwing taters.
what kind of tree are you?
The Christmas ficus from 1996 that my mom decided was better than a Christmas tree.
I like that actually. Wait, she had a ficus?
Yes, and the thing, like, she wouldn't let it just die in peace. She taped it together.
She decorated a ficus. That's fun.
I will get my sister to verify this for me. I'm not making it up.
It's actually kind of fun. I told you this was going to be a Barbara Walters style show.
But you don't have a list.
We did have one, and I will work around this. I started going there earlier, and then we got off on another tangent about something. We had one question offline, so I have to preface this and tell people again. During the pandemic, I found this singing app, and on this singing app were a bunch of people from the United Kingdom, and they stuck me in a group called Starburst. And from that group
This is
came this
real?
woman named yes, came this
Oh, okay.
woman named Ruth. And Ruth became a friend. And when it all came around for everybody to, you know where this is going to wind up going. When it came around time for they put it out to for everybody to be the of the year, right? She jumped on board because apparently she is a longtime wrestling fan. She used to watch Big Daddy and Haystacks Calhoun. They called him Giant Haystacks in the UK. Wrestle on Saturdays. And her dad would take her to the Coliseum or whatever. She told me this story. Anyway, she's an RCW fan through and through. She holds watch parties on RCW days. I kid you not. I wound up with a sponsorship from a sandwich shop from this place. Anyway, it came time and and I had put it out there. I said, "Hey, I want everybody to vote for me for manager of the year." And I said, "If you would, please vote for my friend Pink to be referee of the year." And this lady rallied night and day hardcore for this. And she is still fuming about an acceptance speech.
So you rigged the election?
I wouldn't say I rigged the election. There's no election rigging to be had. It was literally, hey, post this out to your friends and family and, have people vote on who the best wrestler in Texas was or whatever it was. These people are fans of Texas wrestling. The difference is, so there's a 6 hour time delay. So while everybody was sleeping over here, this guy Furman Perez of the Texas Wrestling Review put this thing out. And so, yeah, there's a 6 hour time shift. So all of these people over here were voting while everybody over here's asleep. And so, yeah, we had this thing. And so, rigging the election? No. But I did, put it out there. And with the help of this person, I won manager of the year. and in turn help you win referee of the year because I wanted to stick it to somebody. And then along came an acceptance speech where I guess it was written, is what I've been told, that you won me manager of the year, and that upset somebody. The person that worked extremely hard for this.
I didn't know about it at the time either. You know all that.
That's how it went down. And then we did it again a second year, and that's when they started finagling all the rules because it just chaps everybody's ass that I won manager of the year. Because I don't know if I've made it clear, there are people that apparently don't like me very much. I think it's because I tell the truth and I ask a lot of questions. And I'm sure that this question's not going to go down well, but I said that anybody that posted a question online, I would get on it. Actually, I don't know how that's basically the abridged version of that question.
Watching her statement.
It's the way she put it on there. Basically, it's do you believe in taking credit for things unjustifiably?
I really don't give a shit. I really don't. Like, this is the stupidest question I've ever been fucking asked in my life. I don't care. I mean, you can take the fucking thing and shove it up your ass if you really care. That's really what I want to say to you. And I'll say it again. I don't care. Like, you're really the most annoying prick I've ever met in my fucking life. You troll everything online. Shut the fuck up. You want an answer? There you go, Logan. That's Pink. Welcome to Meet Pink.
Wow.
It's because you know what? Like, it's two sides. One, you want to help somebody win something that was on your own accord. I didn't ask. You do it, you keep doing it, then you want credit, then you want to bug people, then you want to fucking just go off, write diatribes on people's posts of every podcast. Shut the fuck up. I just want to say it to people. You know? I didn't ask for shit. And every time I get something, everyone has something to say about it. Every time I do anything, somebody has something to say about it. It's been that way for years. This shit gets old. If people want to hear me, this is why people are like skittish about me in podcasts, because that right there, that used to be uncontrollable. But honestly, this right now is deliberate. Whether you play it or not it's up to you. I don't care. You know? But it's just as like, I see everything, I hear everything, but I don't mention it. I keep it to myself. It is what it is. She's still bothered by it. I'm not bothered by shit. I'm calling out how petty and stupid you are. Either this person here on this thing, or it's some other fat guy that works at Wendy's, always having something to say. Like, why are you talking about me? If you hate me so much, why the fuck are you talking about me? All you're doing is giving me more reason to stay. People like you are the reason I'm still around. Because the hate keeps me here.
Well, no, I hear it completely.
So, there you go.
You know about the people that, just I get on their nerves by existing. That's why we're probably the most interesting duo in Texas professional wrestling.
The best part is when everyone's like, oh, they hate each other. Do we?
Sometimes.
Yeah, very much sometimes. But they never know when.
Sometimes, because I was pretty hot for the better part of a year.
Mm-hmm. When you become friends with toads, it's very obvious.
Well, okay, that had some to do with it, and not out of like pettiness or spite or anything.
Are you still
Again,
in shock? Are you still in shock about what came out of my mouth a minute ago?
no, not really. I mean, no, not really. I'm not gonna rebut for somebody else. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like people used to say it. Somebody, Warmack, used to always say, "Man, who rattled Pink's cage?" Every time. So,
And that's my thing. I mean, I know it's going to probably be expected, and that's why it's on my deal. But
mm-hmm.
I I'm not going to rebut for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I because okay.
But
I
here's
don't
the
think
thing.
that's.
This is what you know. What? It's every podcast.
I know.
It was a Tall Can podcast. It was in the notes of the YouTube one for a Countdown City. What? Are you done? But yet, not one message to me directly, and that's the shit that it gets to me. Like, it's if anything bothers me, it's because I'm a very direct person. Come see me. Roll up. I've said it in how many different ways. I'll say it in your language. I'll say it in anyone's language. Right? Roll up. Come through. Pull up. I ain't scared of shit. Come up. But no one does.
There you
They
go.
don't. They never do. Write it in my DMs if you're scared. Send me a message.
But what I'm saying
You
is,
know?
I think you're aggravated that the question's even asked by this person, and I understand where you're coming from.
I don't
I
even
think
want
what
to be a
they're what
referee. Being a referee is demeaning to me. That because and I'll explain this because I'll get canceled. It's demeaning to me for myself because it was treated for me as a punishment every single time from a man. Every time I got in trouble, I was a ref for Rudy. Every time I got in trouble, I was a ref for Sean. It was always punishment. So the only time I actually had fun being a ref was at RCW, recently at RCW, and I got fired from it because Boom Boom was mean. Remember the whole money thing in Bant supposedly that y'all
yeah.
we paid off
Oh
people
yeah.
supposedly, allegedly.
But I think it's the whole thing. And then this is what set off, see, this is what set off a whole chain reaction of stuff is because I had said, I've never watched the RCW honors. I don't know what was said in that speech. All I know is it was told to me, it's like, well, it says the she won, you blah, 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 blah. And then you turned around and you said something to me, mocked the whole thing as an unregulated contest. And that was after you had come out, though, and put it online saying, I won this thing as referee of the year. And you said exactly what you just told me, because this was always supposed to be a punishment. And now you get to laugh in their face because it's this thing. And then this
Hmm.
person who is trying to, I get it, be a super fan, my direction is like, well, how dare she turn around and say that she got him, blah, 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 when really he worked for that and tacked everybody else on. Because I know the second year it was friggin' Carolina and RCW, and I don't know who else I could think of to throw on to there because I'm like, vote for them so that way they all win too. Let's all share this. And then it got turned into this controversial thing. And then
Hmm.
yeah, I posed that to you once before, and then that's what kicked off the whole chain of events of stuff that I
Well, because the thing is, like, and I'm also, if you want to, too,
that I'll
I
ask
feel
other people about when we
well.
get there.
Well, it feels like you're shitting on my honors too, right? Because you're gonna bring up RCW honors, and then the question is brought up then too. Well, she said this and that. Who? You know what? That was my speech to write, and I wrote what I fucking wanted to write. Okay. I mentioned who needed to be mentioned. I mentioned the people that meant the most to me at the point in there, or whatever. If you took it personally, not you, Logan. If you took it personally, that's on you. You
I
know.
wasn't there. I didn't. I
And you were mentioned, and Trina mentioned you something in the whole speech before to introduce me or something. But
see.
the thing,
That's my thing. I wasn't there. I didn't hear it. And then I asked you about it, and that's when you went off on your tangent about whatever. And that's when, so I am this person.
mm,
Like, immediately I felt a vibe shift between us. And that's when I went on like the defensive and just hit the block button on everything.
hmm.
We'll hash this out in front of the world right now. I don't care.
Well, I don't remember if it was something. It's something. I'm not sure what had
And,
happened, but
and
the thing is that not you. It's just that the thing is like I said, every time I'm on a podcast, every time I'm on this, every time I'm on something, it's like there's always that same person with the same long old thing of complaints, but not once has the complaint ever come to me. That's my thing, you know? But whenever we left AWR, she was my best friend, quote unquote, always fucking riding there and trying to be my best friend and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I remember that. So it's just like, but anyway, you're scared? You're scared to ride some? I mean, you're not scared to go chasing somebody's husband, you know? She don't know no fucking boundaries. She doesn't know boundaries. That's her problem. She don't know no boundaries in general. That's her problem, not the rest of us.
moving on.
Yeah.
Rule Britannia, Britannia. But I am big in the UK, much like Mr. Robbie Williams.
Well, it's like the in general the short thing with the honors. The honors was just my moment to not have to say, so put me here, so and so did that. Nah, I put myself there. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I said it that way is because my whole career I've always had to give credit to somebody,
Eh,
but I really
it's
didn't have to, you know?
Again, it's whatever. I got the question out. I did what I promised I would do. I said to anybody that, posted a question, there it is. So, question's out. You responded. Now it's up to this person to do with it whatever it is that they want to do.
Some British witchcraft on me.
Once again, I make zero friends on this show. You guys want insight into like discussion with, Pink and Logan. This is what it is.
Oh.
Until wrestling happens, and
And
then
you know the best part about it is sober.
then we then we can't agree. We can't agree on anything. And then we literally start like pushing and shoving each other.
Mm. Mm-hmm. And then you come dressed as Anthony Andrews for what reason?
Because it was Halloween. That was a darn good costume. So I guess we've got the traditional like cliche. Well, no, here. How about this? How about this? How about we break off of wrestling for a second? I'll steal a page out of Knopf's playbook because I can.
Lord.
What is right now like your Spotify situation looking like? Like what are we listening to at the moment? Because we've been sitting down. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Like I think it's kind of funny, but we come out to Logan's theme song right now, and I really feel like we need to be on a united front.
Mm-hmm.
We fought each other for far too long now, and so it's like let's come up with a theme song. So I know that we've been listening to whatever. Like I'm sitting down listening to like all right, rocking some old Judas Priest last night.
Turbo Lover?
Not using Turbo Lover.
Real metalheads will tell you that like that's like their worst song. Like as in that's not real Judas Priest.
I was about to say, well, I can't say what I was gonna say, so never mind.
Yeah. Spotify. Well, I do Apple Music.
Apple
Let's
Music,
see.
Spotify, I just picked one. What are we jamming to right now?
See, it depends on what era I am in. There's a jam if I'm jamming or whatever. But I mean,
Totally understand.
anything could be on there. There's always like a mix of the weekend in there because it's necessary.
Yeah.
It needs someone singing about sex and drugs the whole time. There's that.
Back in my day, we called that Prince.
We do have some Nas on there right now because we were arguing over Nas the other day. Let's see here. Then I realized, gosh, I got to get rid of some music on here just because.
Nas.
No, it's like Peter. um. Then
I honestly, not to interrupt and Reyna, I honestly am sad. I mean, obviously, I'm sad about, for the victims and the stuff of the P. Diddy thing. But I think some of the biggest victims of, the whole thing are like the people that grew up with the music.
okay, well let's talk about R. Kelly and his
Oh
collection.
my
Jesus
gosh, I
Christ,
know.
because he
Because
he wrote everything.
if it was up to me, the song that I would come out to, and I'd sing the blessed thing too, just because I know it would just get heat.
What
Is
Snake?
I would just come out to like, I'm that star up in the sky, I'm that mountain peak up high, hey, I made it, I'm the world's greatest. I would come out and do that all day long.
Remix
All day
edition.
with the little headset mic and the whole thing, telling everybody it's like, I'm the world's greatest. Because
I
I
don't
am.
see nothing wrong. No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so that's not. I'm not. That's not on my playlist. But currently, there's been a lot of more. I went back to my typo negative era because I
Yeah,
always did.
all right.
Even I love Peter Steele. I love Peter Steele's voice. And then just
So
some of the things they wrote were crazy, and they're very very talented. But sadly, what's crazy about that music is that it's classic, right? You could just listen to the stuff, but you know that there's never going to be any more of it. They're not going to have a new album drop or anything. Like it's
they
just
do. Was it them
crazy.
that did Blood and Fire? That's an
Are
old
you talking
song.
about? Are you talking about Bloody Kisses?
Talk about typo negative. No.
Well, they did Kane's theme. Remember?
Blood and Fire. Da, 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 da. It might not be them.
Yeah, but
I remember as a kid, the first typo negative song I heard, like I told you about, I did the karate thing, right? We
uh
had this guy, he was a hairdresser. And that tells you everything you need to know about him.
huh.
He was one of our instructors, and this was like before Billy Blanks was doing the Taibo, right? He did
Tybo.
cardio karate.
Oh
And
my
I
god.
remember he had this song, and I'm pretty sure it was typo negative. And we'd be up there. He's like, grapevine, and kick, and snap kick, and front kick. And we're doing this thing. And he had this song. It's like, what was it? I'm sick and tired of all of your lies. I'm fucking tired and I'm so
Yeah.
good. And my mom was always like, because mom was in the class with me. That's right. My mom did karate with me, kids.
Hey, this wasn't my first song, but what was amazing to me was I had went to go watch I Know What You Did Last Summer,
Yes.
and the opening theme was like their remake of their cover of Summer Breeze by Seals and Croft.
Yeah.
And they're like, dun, 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 dun. And it's just like that album is so epic, and it just because the albums all flow together too, like the songs connect and just man, um,
You just had that
yeah.
moment where you unlocked a memory for me, but yeah.
Well, it was core memory unlocked is like we were kids, 18, whatever, running into back in there used to be forest out here, but now it's all city and stuff. But go around the back, smoke your pot and shit. Like it didn't matter, You're running away from home. We were all getting high, but it wasn't even a
Right.
hydro. Oh, see, we don't even call it hydro anymore. But just dirt, just dirt. But it was just to get away from our parents. So it's just like you just remember typo and negative, and then they used to perform here too. They used to perform at the White Rabbit. Now it's called something else now. Dude, I don't know what it's called, but White Rabbit always it was a hole in the wall and like sweaty people everywhere, so small, but they would just come and still perform. It was like so that just I had to go backwards a little bit because I was just feeling a little nostalgic for a time period. But another artist that's been on I've been listening to a lot this since the summer was her name's Victoria Monet. She's a singer, R&B. I don't know if she's written for people, but she's written albums, so and her stuff's pretty good. But she did that out of "On My Mama, on My Hood." I like Violet Good that song, but it did
Mm-hmm.
like an R&B version of it, and it was over TikTok for a little bit, and I was like, that's interesting, and I looked it up, and then I looked up her albums. So I started like, 'cause I just going in different directions, right? Like there's
Yeah.
really nothing interesting to me on the radio. And then plus, if you do hear it on the radio, you're going to hear it 100 times on Reels, 100 times on TikTok, 100,000 times everywhere else. Like I said, it's like, what else am I going to hear? I want to hear other things, especially because I drive a lot.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It all depends on.
yeah. Because every now and then we go back to Fleetwood Mac, so we throw some Fleetwood Mac in
Right.
there always.
I go
You
through
know,
like my weird like gangsta phase. Like it
Mhm.
depends on, whatever's going on. It's like, all right, now we're gonna bump NWA because
heavy like my list will go right, and I'm like, okay, this is some everything's pretty relaxing. Then you hear "Hit 'Em Up" by Tupac come through, and you're like, "Geez, yeah, I wasn't even ready for that." you
and
know?
yeah. And people look at me and they go, "Really, Logan? This is what you're listening to?" Yeah.
hmm
My thing right now is I've discovered I mentioned him earlier, like Robbie Williams. Robbie
Yeah.
Williams is an artist from the UK. He didn't really translate well over here. And what got me was he's got a movie that came out. I'm gonna plug Robbie Williams' movie for him real quick, but it's called Better Man. And I saw the promo for it and I was like, Robbie Williams is the guy. I don't know if you remember, he had a pop hit called Millennium back in '99. And he didn't translate well over here because he's too unapologetically British. He's very cheeky. He's a lot like me, and that's what attracted me. That's why I like Elton John. I've got
Yeah.
the stupid suits and the whatever. I'll tell y'all right now. I'll break it down. Okay, it's a character. It's like dressing up in clown face. It's the difference between you can relate to this. It's the difference between Angela and Pink. And even if I am Logan Pettis, or for a while I was Darvin Derringer, but I never was committed to Darvin Derringer, really. But there's Logan Pettis and there's Logan Pettis, right?
Well, it's funny because now there's Angela, there's Pink, and then there's Reyna. Reyna are the new kids that just don't know Pink. So if you call me Pink, I know I've known you for a while, or you
It's
know.
it's it's funny because Raina is the lady that runs the antique store 2 doors down from my restaurant, and she really does talk like these. Yeah, yeah. But
Hey, no Windex, the Mustang destroyer.
no, we no. So No, so I've discovered this guy, Robbie Williams, and he's got a great catalog of music. But yeah, in this movie, he's portrayed by a monkey, like a chimpanzee, and he sets the thing up by saying, "I've always seen myself as a little less evolved." And so I was like, "What a cool concept for a movie." And then I started listening to his music, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of like this guy. And then I started. He's got a Netflix documentary, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's me. Like, I probably couldn't get along with him because we're probably like going to drive each other nuts because we're both just depressive as shit. But no, so that's what I've been listening to a lot lately. Or my favorite is Spotify has a DJ, and he comes on and he's very AI voice. And he's like, "Hello, Logan. Right now, we're gonna bump some things that you've been coming back to for a while. Right now, here's Sticks." Okay.
Mm.
And then that's where I discover new music as well, because every so often it'll be like, all right, we got some new music for you. It's got that Michael Jackson vibe. Okay, something like that. So, all right. I guess we'll ask the cliche question. All right, you've had quite a storied career again, folks. You can look it up, and we've talked some about it here. I guess you're sitting in a locker room, group of kids asking questions, man. What are you telling these kids?
No, it's like what Maddie used to say when we were in the locker room. Don't do anything she tells you that she did. She'd be like, guys, because they're like, are you really telling that story? I said, who wants to hear Crystal's old fat stories? And she's like, oh God. But they did. They wanted to hear him. And then she was like, guys, don't do anything she said.
Don't do any of that.
I was like, she's not wrong.
I
She's not
miss
wrong.
Maddie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to do storytelling without her because I don't have someone to joke bounce the jokes off of with and stuff, like the banter. There's no banter there. There's just now like,
My
wow.
favorite Maddie moment was we were loading in the ring one time, and I just hopped on a board real quick and just carried it in,
Hmm.
and I smarted off and I said something. I said, "I'm just out here looking good in front of the promoter. As soon as he goes away," I said, and Maddie goes right there, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm glad you and I are on the same page." Because they all looked at me like I was, and I talk out of my neck. Don't think that that's my personality. But there are days, I'm not gonna lie. But no, I'm saying that because I jumped on. I'm in a suit. I'm in a full suit, and yeah, I hopped on and I helped carry boards and beams and whatever in one time. But yeah, all those hybrid kids, they all turned around and they looked at me like, "Huh?" And I said, "Oh, don't worry." I said, "I'll stop as soon as the promoter's out of eye shot."
Which is how you do it all the time anyway.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. I set up chairs and stuff sometimes. Actually, usually that's what I do is I will tear down some chairs.
So I helped
I
one. I went one night before. We did like a night before setup, and I went and I helped, and like no one believed me that I was helping, but it
They're
was
like,
almost
why
like,
are you here?
yeah, it was like, oh, Pink, we know you're not really gonna help, and I did, and it was just like, and so that's what I was expected, and I'm like, well, if that's what's expected, I'll give it to you.
I'm like, that's lame sauce, bro. But no, that's usually what I do after the show's over. I go out and will hem haw around with some people and stuff. But yeah, usually I just start grabbing chairs, just stacking chairs someplace. They want to the ring. The ring is a little different because they have a system with the ring, and so I don't want to interfere in the system.
Right, you've noticed that too, like, oh God, they're gonna yell at
So
me.
yes, that's exactly right. I'm like, okay, so I will stay out of the way, but I can stack chairs like nobody's business. I grew
Right.
up in church. We stack them chairs. You want to impress a girl, you carry like four chairs on each arm.
The
So
the the
anyway,
the cheers I hated doing the most was this place called Bel Air Baptist Church. We ran there, but this is when I didn't set up for RCW. There was we yeah, there's another person, but we those chairs were those they're metal, but they don't bend. And then they got the cushion on them, and you just
yes,
stack
the
them.
the stack them, yeah.
That's it. But you got to stack 300 chairs. Remember, I told you we had
That's
300
the
people.
that's like the Grand Event Center chairs.
God, it's the worst.
The white ones, I think.
Well,
They're
these
yeah.
are metal and they're heavy, and you couldn't
Yeah, I
just
know what you're
stack.
talking about, but
You
yeah.
couldn't do maybe two at a time, but you really couldn't. So like we setup was forever on that one.
So, eh, eh. Well, folks,
So,
we've reached.
do we get to say that, like, if we went to a seminar?
What are we doing? Well, folks, we have lost Pink. Oh, with that, we're at a whopping 2:24. So, which is an hour and 24 more than I anticipated. But we want to thank Pink right now for coming on the show, and I'm sure we'll talk to Pink um, soon. So we'll definitely have her back on the show, but we want to thank her for coming out and talking to us. And you can catch her. She's doing some big things. She's doing things. Not only is she the RCW Women's General Manager, but she's also at the TWA, and she's going to be doing some stuff in California. So check her out on social, Reyna Pink on Facebook. And with that, that's been the first episode of the Logan Pettis Show. We will see y'all when we see y'all. Good night, everybody.